Welcome to The Source with your host, Dr. C.T. Curry, and co-host Coby Owens. News all across the nation. The Source. Stay in the loop in the city of Wilmington, Delaware. Work together for change in the community. A call to action to find the resources. The Source, the latest in news.
Good evening, this is Dr. Curry.
This is Coby Owens.
And welcome to The Source. Well, Coby, we've had several issues this week. We were finding that we had two shootings. One ended up in a murder, and the other one was a critical. I'm really concerned about both, but something happened on Tuesday night with the 15-year-old young lady who's in stable condition right now on the 800 block of West 6th Street. What do you know about that?
Yeah, so approximately around 5:40 on Tuesday, March 10th in the 800 West 6th Street, 800 block of the West 6th Street, police arrived and found a 15-year-old young lady with a gunshot wound. She was transported to the local hospital. She is in stable condition, and the police are actively investigating this. There is no leads as of right now what led to this, and I believe they have no suspects in mind of who could have done this. Again, there's no, as of right now, they have no reason they have no leads on what led to this as well.
So she just got shot. She was walking down the street and got shot.
Anything could have happened at this point. I don't believe that she has talked to the police just yet about what led to the event.
Now, she's a minor, so therefore they have to wait until a parent consent and things of that nature happens. Now, let's talk a little bit about the West 6th Street. This 800 block, is that known for violence and things of that nature?
Surrounding areas are not usually that block, but it's within a few blocks radius.
All right, and what district is that?
That is the end of the 5th, start of the 6th. It's like the borderline.
Okay.
I think it's the 5th.
Because when you start talking about 15-year-old children, I get very concerned, and then we got to wait for parents. I didn't know, but I'm sure we're going to really follow that very carefully because we want to make sure that we are really getting to the bottom of that one because that's a child. And when we're dealing with children, and I get a little more sensitive than when there are adults. On Monday, we do have an unfortunate situation where a person was fatally shot, and that was on the 100 block of South Harrison Street. What do you know about that?
So, unfortunately, a 29-year-old man was shot and killed. Police arrived in the Hedgeville neighborhood, which is the 6th district. Police said the man was shot around 6:30 p.m. on that Monday, March the 9th. And again, he was taken to the hospital, and his name is Darren Mason. He was taken to the hospital where he ended up passing away. Again, this is also under investigation. And again, they have no leads on what led to the shooting.
Now, these were the warm days of the summer because it was, not the summer, but of this season. And I started to think, that attributes a lot because people are outside and about. But this person, the Darren brother, I just, what about that community? I mean, the one on the block, that's across on this side.
Hedgeville is a very tight-knit community, but it has seen some recent violence recently. That is the 6th district over there. Okay. So again, that 5th and 6th district area has seen a little bump in shootings and this so far this year. Again, that neighborhood, you have a lot of retirees over there now, people who've been in that neighborhood a very long time. It's changing, but you have people who've been there for a long time as well too. It's usually a quiet neighborhood, but recently we've seen that change just a little bit.
Now, who's the council person representing that district?
So the 6th district is Councilwoman McCoy.
Okay.
And I know she's very engaged with that civic association over there in that community. I believe that's her home community.
Okay, I understand. All right, well, we're going to have to keep following that, but we do have an update as well where the police, now they have a suspect and that double shooting that occurred just a few weeks ago. And do you know any more information on that update?
Yeah, so that shooting took place on February 23rd on West 4th Street in North Scott around 8 p.m. And they found two men aged 36 and 37 with gunshot wounds. Both of those victims were taken to the local hospital in stable condition. We reported that here. Now the police are looking for 48-year-old Terry Wally as the suspect, and warrants have been issued for his arrest. So the Wilmington police have been able to identify a suspect in less than a month in this shooting. So now they're just looking for the gentleman now.
Okay, well, we definitely want to continue to follow that because that was a double shooting, and I wanted to know, exactly what was going on with that type of shooting, and no one knows anything. But I'm anxious to find out what it was related to in that situation, given that both of them did survive. The last thing I wanted to, well, before I say the last thing, when we're dealing with the violence and we're dealing with the shootings, we very seldom report on some of the accidents that happens, whether it be vehicle. And I just happened to be driving home just a few days ago, and a young person with a scooter, or on a scooter, it could be older people too, just appeared. Mm-hmm. And it was almost hard for me to get it out of the way, but there's been a lot of that going on recently.
Yeah, so Representative Sidney Romer and Mara Gorman put forth state legislation to kind of restrict who can be on these scooters and what type of laws municipalities can put in place. We passed ours back in December, and it was signed into law. There's 4 different classes of these scooters. Class 1 and Class 2 are the ones that you see young kids riding, right? Mm-hmm. They may not go more than 10 miles per hour. But it's the Class 3 and Class 4s that we see that people are literally driving on highways, on streets, going through red lights, stop signs, going the opposite direction. And them just hitting a car by themselves will create some damage because they're going 30, 40 miles per hour. But if a car is also moving, damage can really be severe and can put someone in critical condition. Some of the requirements are you got to wear a helmet, right? You have to have some additional protection.
Is that a requirement for Wilmington, or is that a requirement
for Wilmington? Yeah.
Okay.
But then also you have to be over 16, and you have to follow the regular traffic rules, right? So if you're on a vehicle that still goes 30 to 40 miles per hour, you cannot just blow through a stop sign, right? Especially, or even on Walnut Street, I almost saw a horrible accident on 12th Street. A scooter was going the opposite way as 3 lanes of cars were coming down Walnut Street. Again, they speed on Walnut Street. I'm not making excuses for the car speeding, but that last car almost clipped the rider, and it made everyone throw their brakes on, almost caused other accidents. But people just have to be more conscious with what's going on. About 2.5 weeks ago, there was a really bad accident that left someone in critical condition. They're still in the hospital. That happened in front of the community service and Hotel DuPont buildings. And then just this past week, on West 27th and Market Street, there was a young man, 17 years old, who was hit on a scooter going the opposite way, hit the car, clipped each other, and then he bounced into another parked car, which caused even more damage to his body as well, too. So again, I think people just have to be more conscious of what's going on. Both drivers of cars, vehicles, in these scooters. And if you are on a scooter, if your kid, grandkid has these scooters, please sit them down and explain the rules of the road to them so that they are safe on the road.
Yeah, it's becoming a means of transportation for many people. Because at one point you had them riding bikes, but now they're really buying these scooters. This is the problem I'm having. Now, there are rules on the book that say what they can and cannot do. Who's enforcing those rules?
So it would be the Wilmington police. The issue is they don't chase these scooters. Why? Because they can pop up on a sidewalk. They can dip into someone's alleyway or walkway real quick. Cop cars can't do that. So it's hard. It's the same thing, the issue we have with dirt bikes as well too.
Right.
They can go places that our police cruisers cannot. If they know where the person's heading or going to be returning, that's the best case scenario. But outside of that, it's just the luck of the draw when trying to stop them, to be honest. It is very hard, and I agree with you. Look, we have a president who created these false tariffs that raised car prices out the wazoo, that made used cars more valuable now, which means to get a car with 115,000 miles on it, you're still paying $40,000 on. Yeah, people are going to go to other modes of transportation, and public transportation isn't the strongest throughout this nation, especially when you have a U.S. Department of Transportation that's pulling back grants that help fund infrastructure and aging transportation, public transportation. So now, yes, people go to the Walmarts, they go to the Targets and purchase these type of scooters so that they can get to work, so that they can get around. People got to get places.
And while certainly I'm not disagreeing with your commentary as it relates to people having to have means of transportation, the problem is, because when I was driving home, I'm a legal, law-abiding citizen driving through the rain, and while I was driving through the rain, it appeared, and if I was not totally conscious, I could have hit him. It could have caused his death, could have even caused mine. My concern is that we just like you got to have a driver's license to drive everything else on the roads. I don't know why we don't require some. I know it's going to be harder. I always think about the liberal side of stuff. No, leave them alone. But there are people who are honestly trying to be safe, and they're finding themselves. Like you said, one person was coming the wrong way. And I know a cop can't chase him because they can't get through the alleys. But what about routine stops? I guess that would create problems for your group because they're going to call that harassing.
So if someone's doing everything right, you can't just stop them, right?
I know.
You have to see them in the action of breaking one of the rules.
Well, what about putting license plates on their cars, on their scooters, so that we can see the license plate? If we can't catch them, we got the license plate and it's registered to somebody.
So on some of the higher speed scooters and the seated scooters, they do have license plates on them. Now, do people get them? No, they don't go.
Well, then that's when you stop them.
Yeah, but again, that's not a city thing. That would have to be state because it involves DMV and registration fees. And I know the state would love extra money.
Well, I don't even care if they give them extra money. I think that could be funded. I think what I'm more concerned about is that we can identify, because when people feel the license that they can do what they want to do, they hide under my liberal friends to say, you're harassing me, but then when you got me who's trying to follow the law and they come up the wrong way and I hit them and then I'm in jail or I'm in the court system and things of that nature, and that's where my problem is.
So no, I'll push back a little bit, but I do agree about I don't think if they're going the wrong way up the street or if they blow through a red light or stop sign, that if you hit them, that you should be held to the same account as like if you hit a pedestrian.
But what about my mental stability? I mean, you may say, okay, you're not going to jail, Curry, because you hit him, but now I'm distraught. I can't preach on Sunday because I've just hit someone and killed them, or they have almost killed me. I think there has to be a balance.
It does, but I think that balance has to come with understanding people's individual rights as well too.
Listen to the liberal. Listen to the liberal, y'all. I just want y'all to know the difference between liberal and I'm not conservative. I'm progressive, I guess.
I'm progressive. You're liberal.
Oh, is that what it is? Whoa!
So it's progressive, liberal, and then conservative.
Well, then I'm conservative then. I'm sorry, not Republican, conservative.
But no, one of the things there is you still want to uphold people's individual rights.
I agree.
But they also have to follow the law. So there is a very clear line there that I think can be identified. But at the end of the day, you can't just have people stopping everyone who's on scooters, right?
Yeah. I agree.
But we should be encouraging, and we should be partnering with some of these corporations as well too. If helmets are too expensive, they can purchase 100 helmets. They can purchase 200 helmets. That's what, $2,000. They have it. They saved it in all their property tax savings. So
that's that liberal side you're talking again.
we can work together as a city to make sure that we're protecting everyone.
Yeah. Well, I'm again, beyond me hitting, What about the mental part? But beyond them fall, I don't believe we should stop everybody because I know it will become bias. Okay, but I just really think that we need to do something with the scooters because right now people are dying from them. There are real accidents happening, almost accidents that's dealing with people's mental stability. So I'll leave that alone for this show. I'll come back to it because I got another issue I want to deal with that the city council is in the process of getting ready to do a vote.
Yes.
On whether or not they can do this party switching.
Yes.
And I'm glad you liberals done woke up to the reality of people playing games. But tell me what your opinion, what's going on with it, and then I want to just talk about it for a couple of minutes.
So there, in October of last year, Councilman James Spadola switched parties from Republican to Democrat to make it 13 Democrats on the Wilmington City Council. People may say, oh, that's great. The issue is he ran for the minority party seat, which means you can be any party that's not the majority on council. So if council only had 5 Democrats and he wanted to be the 6th, he could do this switch with no issue. But we have 12, which makes the Democrats the overwhelming majority on the council, which means he could switch to Green, Libertarian, Working Families Party, unaffiliated, independent, whatsoever. He just shouldn't switch to Democrats. But there is some gray area in the code because he won the nomination as a Republican to hold that minority seat. He did not have to go through the primary process because not more than 3 Republicans signed up to run. 5 Democrats signed up to run at large. 3 of them were able to advance into the general election. Councilman Hackett, Councilwoman Bracey, and Councilwoman Cabrera. They all had to get over 20,000 votes in order to qualify to be Wilmington City Council people. But because we have a carve out for minorities, for minority parties, James Spadola only had to get 9,000 votes. You see the big difference there of 11,000 votes?
Yes.
Yes, you still represent the city. Yes, you still have a power of the council person, but your seat is the 9th district seat pretty much. As I say, we have 8 districts. You got to live in your district, right? That's like when Council President Trippy Congo won as council president his primary and moved out his 2nd district seat. Council President Hanifa Shabazz removed him from council. So that seat was left vacant because he did not meet the qualifications for his past election for all those seats, to hold that seat, right? So I think the precedent has been set by her actually, that if you don't meet all the qualifications of that seat that is set forth, then you must leave that seat and have that seat vacated. But James Spadola has decided to attack other council members, pretty much calling us Trump, and saying that we're undermining democracy. We're undoing the will of the people. We did not do anything. You lied to the people and said you was running as a Republican and was going to be the conservative voice, and then you switched. And I wonder why. He wants to run for higher office probably and knows that, at least in Wilmington, you cannot win as anything if you're beyond a Democrat without that special carve out for him to originally get in his seat. Now he waited till after his 5 years to do this. If he was so compelled to change, why didn't you change before that? Why didn't you start this process before your 5-year mark? But you wanted to make sure you were vested in the city. So it seems like it was personal. He had to make sure he got all his stuff for the city. He gets paid and everything. And then he switched.
And when you use the word investment, for my seniors who's watching, I want to make sure they understand what you're saying. When you said he's invested, that means he will get a pension from the city because he's put 5 years in.
Correct.
Now he's making a decision. And the decision is, I want to be Democrat, which he probably always was. Because he was a Democrat and then switched to Republican. Am I right?
Correct.
So, okay, go ahead, you keep it. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, he was never a Democrat.
He was never a Democrat?
No.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, I stand corrected. He did not get 9,000 votes. He got 6,802 votes. So 3,000 even less. So 14,000 difference, right? Between him and the highest vote getter, which was Councilman Hackett. This is very concerning, right? you had 3 people who did it the right way, worked hard for their seats. Whether I agree with them on everything or not, they worked hard for their seats. And now for him to take the easy route to circumvent all of that, is sad. It is really sad. So I hope that we get some clarification. That meeting has not taken place yet, but will be very soon.
What do you think the temperature of the council is? Because you got some people who are just, they're politicking, and they've been politicking for the whole time they've been around.
I think everyone's politicking right now. Everyone's trying to see where the vote lies. But here's the thing: when the resolution comes up and it's time to vote, there's always one person who doesn't get to see anyone else's vote. They have to just vote based off their own conscience, and that's me. I'm the first vote.
Oh, okay.
I'm the first vote every time.
Yeah.
So, I will be listening to my community. I will be listening to people in the first district, and I will base my decision based off of that. That's how I've operated in the past, and that's how I will keep operating.
I am not a city council person, and never aspire to be one. However, I do say if the seat is for a Republican or any party but the minority party, it should be that. I remember Mike Brown served as the Republican. We know he's always been a Democrat, but he wanted to make sure he helped his boy, and he stayed in that role, but he never switched. Now, I don't know whether he switched back to Democrat once he got him out of the office, but he never switched during the time he was in. That was a bold move on Mr. Councilman's part, and I think that's wrong. Now, y'all get to vote, and I want to see that vote. So I need you to be on assignment to come back unfiltered. I need to know the vote and who voted to and who voted against, so the people can see. This is just strict politics, and we can't play that role. And then to accuse y'all of acting like Trump, I'm not happy about that. I didn't hear him say that. I heard you say it. I'm taking your word on it. But if that is said, that is just a disgrace.
Even in the paper, he linked us even wanting to have the discussion to the attacks on democracy that we're seeing in D.C. right now. So again, if he wants to play these games, we can play these games.
Sad.
But the citizens should get a say since he switched, and we're giving them the opportunity to do that.
But I'm gonna go a little further, and I know Mr. Trippier is gonna be mad at me, and I don't really care because I never care about people's opinion. But let me say this to you: I did not like the politics of Hanifa Shabazz. I know she was a special interest person, but she set the precedent. It needs to be followed. It needs to be followed. A decision. We can do the voting later on. Matter of fact, I don't even think a vote was really needed. This legislation should not be even needed. But Mr. Congo, he needs to make a decision. As the president of City Council, here's the question. Let him sue, meaning the City Council person. Say, no, you're going against my rights. If it's for the minority, he is a Democrat. He is not minority. He's a part of the majority.
Correct.
So since he holds that card, he cannot hold that house. That seat. And it happened to him. So if it happened to him, he should be free and saying, okay, well, it happened to me, and I'm going to have to continue this precedent. But even if it wasn't a precedent there, it's only right. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Home. It's the place where we go to feel secure, safe, and loved. But for thousands of youth living on the streets, there's no such thing as home. Out here, it's a predatory world that can destroy lives forever. At Covenant House, we give at-risk youth a place to go where they feel safe, supported, and people care about their future. A place to call home. To help or get help, go to safeplacetosleep.org.
Smiles are powerful. A simple smile can light up a whole room. And for 25 years, Smile Train has been lighting up the world with smiles. and each smile marks a step towards a brighter future. As the world's largest cleft lip and palate charity, Smile Train has supported more than 2 million life-changing cleft surgeries in over 90 countries, leaving a legacy of resilience, joy, and beaming smiles for generations of children. To learn more about cleft lips and palates and how Smile Train is supporting the cleft community all over the world, please visit smiletrain.org/learn. Smile Train, lighting up the world with smiles for 25 years.
And we're back. Well, Brother Coby, tell me what's going on with the Coby Corner this week.
Yeah, so some exciting news coming from D.C. And again, this is the first time this has been introduced, so it's probably not going to work out this year, but it's a good start. Senator Cory Booker from New Jersey, the second longest serving African American senator, has introduced the Keep Your Pay Act. And what this does is the majority of taxpayers will have no federal income tax on the first $75,000 of their earnings.
Can I just take a moment and say hallelujah?
Yes.
Can I take a moment and just ask, if not, please vote for this, but go ahead.
And this would be the first 75 altogether. So both for single individuals who are filing and for joint filers as well too.
No, wait a minute. So if my wife and I just want to make sure everybody understands, you correct me. If my wife and I file together, is that $150 or is that $75 because we filing together?
75. It's 75 across the board.
Oh.
Yep.
Well, I'm still all right.
Hey, the first 75 is still good.
I'm not one of the rich pastors.
This plan also includes expansion to tax credits to put more money back in the pockets of families and lower earners, like me. I work for a nonprofit, but that includes.
But you got 14 jobs.
That includes the child tax credit being expanded as well too, and then closing some unfair loopholes. Right, so the fact that you get a huge tax write-off for owning a yacht, but teachers cannot write off their supplies right now. The supplies write-off will come back.
Thank you for saying the word "come back" because at one point it was there.
Correct. Yeah. And some of the vast majority of the proposal will still balance the budget by making higher earners pay their fair share. A lot of them pay $0. Donald Trump, for almost 27 years, paid $0 in taxes. Meanwhile, I've paid thousands in taxes.
That's right.
And I still got to file my taxes for this year.
Me too.
But roughly,
whenever you owe, you always got to take your time.
April 15th. I guess I'll go ahead and hit this. But under the proposal, almost 85% of America would see their taxes cut. And how much that is taken out their check.
Will that benefit Trump? Because if they haven't done Trump time, he'll say, I did it.
If it was to pass now, it would be under Trump, but I highly doubt that it gets to the 60 votes right now, even though some Republicans have signaled openness to the idea. I don't think this current iteration would be the iteration that passes. And then it has to go to the House. So honestly, I think the House would have to be in Democratic control for it to pass. I don't think the Republicans would do this over there, but maybe in the Senate they could get something done. And again, this isn't anything new, right? In 2019, Cory Booker introduced the American Family Act and the Working Families Tax Relief Act that would permanently expand the child tax credit and the earned income tax credit for low-income families and children. In 2021, he joined a coalition that included the historic expansion of the child tax credit in the ARPA, American Rescue Plan Act. And while that expired, that cut the child poverty rates in almost half in this nation. And we hope that comes back soon, because there are a lot of families out there who are barely getting by, and that additional money that they were receiving, even though it was just a few $100s, really made a difference for a year for them. So again, that's all. And like I said, it would be fully paid for by closing the unfair tax loopholes that corporations take advantage of and ultra wealthy. This would increase taxes on stock buybacks, tightening limits on executive compensation deductibles, and other measures of fairness and everything.
Yeah, but now a couple of things I want to just make sure we're talking about in this whole thing. Every time we have legislation that can help the poor or the those who don't have the means that others do, we know that it gets nowhere. Because the Republican Party, I believe there's some heart in some of the Republican senators to help the poor, because some of their constituency is represented in that area.
It is.
But right now, are you saying it's probably when is he planning to put this on the floor to go forward?
So it has to be. He introduced it. Now he has to try to get it to a committee hearing. It would go to the Health Committee, which is the Health, Asian, Labor, and Pension Committee. So he's just trying to navigate that side of it first.
For the level of money that we're spending on this war, I don't see why that would be a major problem. But I know the Republicans are going to do what they do. How he couldn't hold this until after the midterms?
So I think you start the narrative now, because it takes a while to make this a huge issue, and to get this to resonate in every state, right? So while the Democratic caucus may all sign on, you have people, well, majority, you have people like John Fetterman, who may not. But if you get the blue collar workers of Pennsylvania talking about this, you may not only get Fetterman, you may also get McCormick, right? So again, you have some work to do, but once people start seeing, okay, this impacts me in the first, in a good way, yeah, let me go ahead and call my U.S. Senator and tell him to support this. So yeah, but you brought up a very good fact that leads me into my second point, the Iran war. So, and the money that we're spending there, in just the first 6 days, we spent $11.3 billion.
That's horrible. Now, that could have funded the whole welfare system and a couple other things. Child care. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
The first 100 hours cost us $3.7 billion, and the first 2 days alone cost us $5.6 billion.
Yeah, for those of you who are watching, I just want you to really feel... I hope that our the people who are behind the scenes putting this show together would just flash on the screen those two numbers so people can see how large and how much money we're spending on a war that is senseless. Well, from a president who promised no more wars, a president who promised America first. He had his own agenda with that American first, but America first should be taking care of Americans. That's horrible. Give me those two numbers one more time.
So in the first 100 hours, we spent $3.7 billion.
Can you make sure all those zeros are there? Do you know how to do that many zeros? Those of you in the background, I want to see all the zeros so people can know how much money we spend. I'm sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
And then overall, the first 2 days, was $2.6 billion in ammunition alone. The 3.7 was the first 100 hours for operation and equipment. On average, it's largely being driven by munition expenditures. We're roughly spending anywhere from $1 billion to $2 billion per day. So we are in the middle of another reckless war. There was a list of cities that are being targeted. They had the ambassador from Iran on Fox News, and they were interviewing him, and they said, Donald Trump has said that he's not opposed to putting troops on the ground there. And the guy looked right in the camera and said, we're waiting for them. U.S. allies are putting travel warnings on not traveling to Iran, but traveling to the U.S. Canada being one of them. our allies are turning on us. Germany put forth a news article saying that the greatest threat to the world since Adolf Hitler
I saw that.
is Donald Trump.
J. Trump.
And to be honest, I agree with them. What he has done on the international level will have ramifications for decades. And this is not American first. What he's doing is getting American citizens killed. This past weekend, he traveled to Delaware with Vice President Pence, Secretary of War, Hexeg.
He didn't travel with Pence. He traveled with
Or not Pence, sorry, Vance.
Vance. Go ahead.
To Dover Air Force Base, which is one of the Air Force bases when American soldiers are killed, is one of the first areas that they touched down on U.S. soil. Fox News used a clip from his first presidency when showing him at the Air Force Base. Why they did that is because when he was there this past weekend, he wore his tacky, made in China MAGA hat, instead of removing his hat and showing respect to our fallen heroes. And they knew people would be extremely upset at that. And they are now they're apologizing to the president for changing the image instead of apologizing to the U.S. people that they are supposed to get news out to.
Why are they apologizing? Because they played him wearing his MAGA hat?
No, they played him not wearing it. And he's upset because I'm the president of the United States. I can wear whatever. I'm above all that.
Like the tan suit.
Yeah. Which the anniversary of that is coming up. It was Easter time, right?
It was.
And, you know, we get all dressed up in our nice tan suits or light gray suits for Easter. And, you know, that's the worst thing President Obama could do.
Yeah.
Donald Trump was in Kentucky the other day, and he was talking about President Obama and Jesse Jackson's funeral. And the only thing that he admired about President Barack Hussein Obama was his bop. And how smooth he walked. Everything else is bad. But
he's a jealous man.
He really is.
Insecure, jealous man.
He really is.
Yeah. And go ahead. But I'm going to jump in a couple times and just say this war, not only is it very expensive.
Yes.
Not only has our allies turned on us, we're out there alone. And being out there alone has placed, and I'm just trying to put a little emphasis on what you have already articulated, being out there alone is in a dangerous space. For California to be receiving terroristic threats or threats that they're trying to hit them is serious. And this is the part that people are not paying attention to, all of you who support Donald Trump, is that he have gutted all of the agencies that can keep us safe.
Yes.
We don't need all these government workers. We don't need all this stuff. And he will never admit to it, but he did it. And we're not safe. Now, for those people like myself who travel a lot, who's on the airplanes off and on, you know, I'm not going to live in fear. However, the likelihood of things happening, it can happen. Things can happen. And I'm really concerned about it. But what I was very impressed with, even though he treats the Ukrainian president like a dog, he volunteered to help with the drones while Putin is helping the adversary.
Yep.
What is going on with Trump to make him still support Putin? Oh, it's the Epstein files, probably. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
You're probably right. And it's sad, but this war, I think, was started to distract us from those files. And Donald Trump knows exactly what he's doing, because he's already said that you can't be too tall to be in the military. And I think it's 6'7" now. His son is 6'9". Barron. So that's what we're dealing with.
He ain't got no spurts and stuff like that. No, he ain't got none of that stuff.
No.
Oh,
He's just too tall. This one's too tall. Even though the Admiral, David Robinson, was 7 feet tall, served in the U.S. Navy. But, you know, his son's too tall.
Wow, that's a shame.
Real quick before we end,
You're
I do want to say next Tuesday there will be a hearing at the Community Development and Urban Planning meeting for rental assistance. This is creating a rental assistance program through the city of Wilmington to help those who are struggling to pay their rent. 4 months, up to $1,500 each month. And this program would be funded by dollars that we already have sitting there in our neighborhood stabilization fund that hasn't been used. This just opens those dollars up to be used for something like this and to really help the residents of the city of Wilmington.
Now, so how? And I know you worried about time. I'm not worried about time, but how do you apply for that? What does it take for me to get that?
Yeah, so it would be through a real estate and housing department, and it would be very similar to the DHAP program. So you would have to have updated copy of your lease signed by both and signed is the key thing, by both the landlord, property manager, or landlord or property manager in yourself as well too. And I've seen numerous leases that were not signed. You have to have validation of income and ID and just proof of residency as well too. So 2 forms of that as well.
Well, you have to be at a certain income level.
Yes, 350% AMI. So
Okay.
it covers most of the city.
Okay, all right. I'm trying to make sure we're understanding everything so that when our people are hearing these things, they're saying some help is on the way.
Yeah.
You have another item you wanted to
Yes, and the last thing is on March the 26th, there will be an event at the Wilmington POW with Delmarva with their community relief fund. So it's you can get up to $500 off credit onto your account if you come and talk with them, bring your information and everything, and we'll put the flyer up on the screen.
Wait a minute. So, do I have to have a certain income, or just anybody?
It's open to anyone.
Okay.
Again, you have to have an outstanding bill, but
How, like if I got a yellow envelope?
no, not a yellow envelope, but let's say you're a month behind. You could qualify for this, and they come in, they do a home audit.
And when is this?
March the 26th.
Dang, I just paid the bill. Maybe I should have held off a little bit. But you just go to the Powell Center
Yes.
and take your bill verification that's your home, I guess, and they'll talk with you and probably will approve you of a credit.
Yes.
For $500.
Correct.
We
Up
need
to
that.
$500.
Up to. Okay.
Yes.
We need that. It's really been a sad day.
Yeah. I wish they had something for commercial spaces as well too. Delmar, if you're watching.
Oh, you mean for the Powell Center?
For the POW,
Man,
for
let me tell
all,
you,
all the community centers, all my community centers have
including East
reached
Zion
out.
Fair.
Yeah.
Please don't forget about us. Whenever
churches
you find the
too.
money.
Mhm.
No, not East Zion Fair Church. Well, yeah, that too, because we got 2 bills.
Yep.
We got one for that wholeness center, and we have one for the church, and the bills are just unbelievable. I told we had a funeral here a couple of weeks ago, and the people had finished the funeral, and they were waiting for the folks to come back from the cemetery. So they were sitting in the sanctuary, and I was training our new media director. And I said, what you have to do is do what I'm ready to do. I had to go in and say, listen, you all don't know, I have to leave. But we just want to lower the lights because our electric bill is just too high. Yeah. And they all agreed.
Yep.
They were like, I understand. And that's really bad that we're living in a moment where the electric and gas is just too high. The delivery fee is more than the service they are providing. Who put that delivery fee in there?
That's Delmarva. That's Epsilon, their parent company.
But how did that happen?
We've always had a delivery fee. It's just regulations were rolled back under the Trump administration, and they can increase that as much as they want, pretty much.
So maybe we should demand of whoever runs for president that you have to make them roll it back to wherever they want to, because that is horrible. I looked at the bill. Matter of fact, one of our staff persons said to me today, their electric bill is almost double because of the delivery fee. And in some cases, it's more. That's not good, sir.
I know. It's sad.
And no one can control it?
The PJM has some control, but they just got some of that power. It's too late for a lot of them.
Well, this is just not good. Well, you got anything else for me, Coby?
That's
today?
all I have today.
That's all you got? Well, look, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to deal with the politics. And one of the things we're going to do is we're going to talk about a little bit more on the Ukraine war, because I'm really concerned that we're forgetting about our friends there. But I also want to talk about the midterm elections. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back.
join us live for our weekly worship. On Facebook and YouTube.
Well, Pastor, I'm doing the best I can, but I still gotta have a little Chardonnay, and I still gotta have a little this, and I gotta still sneak around. The devil is a liar. That's an excuse.
Wilmington's most exciting church.
Today, we face a relentless opponent, but we will not back down. We will dig deep. We will push ourselves harder than ever before. We will train. We will study our opponent. We will come together as a team. No matter the obstacles, the challenges, or the amount of hard work it will take, we will not stop. Because finding a cure for breast cancer is our end game. Lifetime proudly supports the Breast Cancer Research Foundation. Lifetime is the official broadcaster of the National Women's Soccer League.
And we're back. Coby, there's a whole lot going on. I feel really bad because it feels like our friends in Ukraine are being overlooked. I'm not, before you go any further, I just want to say this because I am not against Israel.
Mm-hmm.
As a person of faith, I understand in the Bible there's certain things that ties Israel to my faith. But Coby, the freedom we give in Israel to pull us into craziness that we are pulled into, and to abandon Ukraine to the level that we have abandoned them is, I believe, ungodly. And I wanted to open that way because this man has tried to be upright. He was even, when he tried to stand up to Trump, everybody else came on real strong, so he humbled himself to let Trump do what he wants to do. But why can't we find a way to help Ukraine?
So we cannot help Ukraine right now because Donald Trump is still tied in with Vladimir Putin. And it's almost like he had he fantasizes about having the control over the media and his country the way that Putin has control over Russia. The Ukrainian-Russian war just saw one of the harshest winters ever, right? Which put a lot of pressure on Moscow, who's already struggling. Ukraine is fighting back without true American support, is still fighting back in what Putin, I believe, thought was going to be like a week-long campaign, has now turned into a multi-year
weekend excursion.
Yeah. They have now begin regaining portions of territories that they haven't had in 3 years.
Now, who's this? Who's the
Ukrainians.
I want you to make sure you're saying it.
So, they are fighting on. They're showing true strength. They are now producing drones free of China's control, which means they're not getting any pieces from them. It's something that I wish we could do here in America as well, too. But Israel has pulled us into another conflict. And Donald Trump in 2017 to 2020, he ripped up the Iranian nuclear deal.
All because of that black man.
All because a black man in a tan suit got a deal done with a nice bop. But Donald Trump has led to the rise in Iran And he is now upset that they selected a new supreme leader. And he said he should have been consulted. And their response was, you think you should be consulted in selecting our leader, but you can't even pick who is appoint the mayor of New York in your own country, right? So again, it is very interesting as we navigate this, but you see people in D.C., these war hawks who were anti-Russia all these years, who are now backing down because Donald Trump said so. And you have seen a huge turnover in Congress. When Donald Trump said he was going to D.C. to drain the swamp, well, the most Republicans have retired under his leadership every time. So maybe he is draining the swamp. Maybe he needs to get those Republicans up out of there. But these midterms are really going to determine a lot.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to that. And matter of fact, as we get closer, we're going to even get a special music so that we can start talking about this whole midterms, because I want to see the shift, and I want to see how they react. I just hope the Democrats, they don't get in and then do craziness and just spend all their time on hearings and not being able to do 3 things at one time. Because Donald Trump has learned how to do 10 things at one time. If we can just learn that art, I think we'll be great. And I just wanted to take a moment of our show today just to talk a little bit about Ukraine and how Donald Trump has abandoned them. And I wanted to hear you say, although I was well aware of already, that they're still fighting.
Yep.
For those of you who heard the sermon today, the Sisters of Delta Sigma Theta was with us today. But those of you who heard the sermon today, I preached on God will give you strength for the struggle. And this is exactly the epitome of having the strength to still fight and fight on. And I hope those of you who have prayed would just keep them in your prayers. I just feel bad. Normally I don't get involved in the wars because I'm not down with wars for real, but they didn't ask for this. Russia tried to steal from them, take from them, and they're still fighting. I appreciate that. I just don't appreciate my country, the richest country in the world, abandoning them.
Yeah.
And I pray that they get through it and get through this president and come out stronger. Another thing I want to turn our attention to, since I went worldwide, let's go to the federal side. Texas is coming up. It's primary. Do you know when that's coming up?
May the 26th, the runoff.
Oh, good. Yeah, and that's right, because it's not, because the Democrat has already been secured, and his name is
James Teleroux.
So brother James is going to be the Democratic person, and right now there's a runoff with the Republicans.
John Cornyn, who's the incumbent senator, Republican senator, and Kim Paston, who's the incumbent attorney general, who's primarying him for U.S. Senate.
Who had the most votes?
John Cornyn.
Now Cornyn is now who Trump wants to support.
Cornyn has been on the outs with Trump. Trump encouraged Patton to run. But now I think Trump is realizing that if Patton is the nominee, that they're going to have to spend way too much money in Texas to win. So he may be flipping his support to John Cornyn. And
if John Cornyn wins, it gives the Democratic candidate a little tougher race.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm rooting for, in that runoff, I'm rooting for Kim Paston to win so that we have the best chance of flipping Texas.
Yeah. Because with that, I'm certain that it will happen. But we will see. But after I looked at the demographics of Texas, if the Democrats come out and vote, we will win Texas.
Yes.
And that's the hard part, coming out to vote.
And more voted in the primary as well, too. So they're fired up there.
Yeah, and I hope that they do. The last thing I want to talk about before we call it a quits for the day is the midterms.
Yes.
It's going to be interesting. Let's hear what you got to say.
So already across this nation, you're seeing a few things that are determining how things are going to go. The biggest is the economy and cost of living, right? Mm-hmm. Inflation, housing costs, wages not matching the time that we're living in. All that is probably the number one cost. Mm-hmm. Some people may say it's affordability, but what is true affordability, right? Here in Delaware, if you make over $60,000, you're in the highest tax bracket. In other states, you're in the lowest tax bracket, right? So breaking it down in that way. Money and big tech, right? So the tech companies, the AI companies are spending heavily to influence some of these races because they want to stay unregulated, right? The quality of candidates have been pretty good this year, right? And then the fourth and final square of that, right, is Trump's approval rating, his administration rating. And that's going to determine both the Senate and the House, how both of them will go. Now, in the Senate, I still have a very slight victory by the Democrats. I have them at 51 seats. And that's, I'm projecting that Kim Paxton will pull out a nail biter and win the primary, which will lead to James. No, that's my 51, which will lead to James being able to win and flip Senate.
Say it again. Go back here.
So Kim Paxton beats John Cornyn.
Oh, so you believe? Oh, okay. So what you're saying is you believe that Paxton will win Texas.
Yes.
And then that will
win
give us
the primary.
Right.
Yes.
And that will give us the opportunity to have
flip Texas.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So Texas is 1. Maine, North Carolina, 2, 3. Governor Roy Moore, who's former Governor Roy Moore in North Carolina, and then both the candidates in Maine are very well qualified to win. Ohio, we will see a return of Senator Sherrod Brown, who lost in 2024. And then lastly, in Alaska, I think Mary Petrola pulls off a very close 48-47 victory with a Libertarian being in that race.
Now you added way more than you said. 50.
We gotta flip 5 seats.
How many we have currently?
We're currently at 47 Democrats.
Oh, okay.
And 53 Republicans. So we have to flip 5 to get to 51 for the Democrats.
No, you got to flip 4.
Yes, 4. Sorry.
Okay.
So 52. Sorry, I did my math wrong.
Yeah. I'm just trying to make sure I'm right because I was in it listening.
52 with Texas in there as well, too. And then in the House, there's a 3-seat majority by the Republicans right now. They will lose that, even with the 5 additional seats they drew in Texas and the 2 additional they drew in Missouri. I believe that at the highest right now, you may see either 30 seats flip, which would give a flat-out majority to the Democrats.
And will the Democrats be able to proclaim that the people have spoken?
Yes.
Okay.
Because that will be the highest majority of the House in the last almost 8 years. Yeah. So that's where we're at with things right now, and we'll see what goes forward with it.
Well, every week we're going to continue to see where we are. I know that you're 52. I just believe there's going to be some upsets. I think we're going to do the upsets, and I'm hoping that they do because I'm a little tired of the orange man in the White House.
Yeah.
I'm a little tired of him, and I'm just praying that we'll be able to see. And for those individuals who tried to prove a point by voting for him, shame on them. And I want to make sure that's said too. Shame on them. But now we're at a place where our economy is crazy, and the only thing he responds to is the stock market.
Yeah,
and it's just sad.
And they're struggling right now.
Oh yes. So we're gonna look it all through, and we're gonna see what we got to do. Well, Coby, I looked at my agenda, and I don't see anything that we have not covered today. Is there anything else left on yours?
I think we covered everything.
Let me take this opportunity to thank all of you, as we do every week, for spending time with us. And I hope that you can continue to follow us. I hope you continue to watch us every week. We do our best to bring you the news. We do our best to give you our opinions as it relates to the news and the things that come our way. I want to take this opportunity to say thank you, and God bless.
Take care, y'all.
You've been watching The Source with host Dr. C.T. Curry and co-host Coby Owens. Tune in every Sunday at 5 p.m. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for the latest episodes.